Now, the United Nations General Assembly on Wednesday voted to pass a resolution asking the world's top court to define the obligation of states to combat climate change. The resolution was taken in a hope to drive countries in taking stronger measures and also to clarify the international law. The historic resolution seeking an advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice made it to the UN General Assembly after a 4-year campaign led by the Republic of Vanuatu and was passed with a consensus vote. The resolution was inspired by Pacific Island law students who want the international legal systems to deliver climate justice. Vanuatu Prime Minister said that the resolution and advisory opinion will have a powerful and positive impact on how we address climate change and protect present and future generations.
This resolution and the advisory opinion it seeks will have a powerful and positive impact on how we address climate change and ultimately protect the present and future generations. Together, we will send a loud and clear message not only around the world, but far into the future, that on this very day, the peoples of the United Nations, acting through their governments, decided to leave aside differences and work together to tackle the defining challenge of our times, climate change.
Now, urging the people of the United Nations to work together and leave aside all differences, the Prime Minister clarified on the legal and financial obligations countries have, which will help states revise and enhance national climate plans submitted to the Paris Agreement, as well as strengthening domestic policies and legislation.
As the principal judicial organ of the United Nations and a judicial body considered a world court, the ICJ is uniquely positioned to make this contribution. An advisory opinion is a constructive and unconfrontational route to pursue such an initiative. It is not legally binding. However, it does carry enormous legal weight and moral authority.
Now, the push for the resolution was driven by Vanuatu and a core group of 18 countries ranging from Costa Rica to Germany. On the eve of the vote, while Vanuatu diplomats continued trying to win support from China and the United States, or at least to convince the two biggest greenhouse gas emitting countries to not raise objections. The latest report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warned that to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, greenhouse gas emissions must be nearly halved by 2030. With this resolution, Vanuatu and other vulnerable countries, they're already grappling with powerful impact of a heating planet. The South Pacific Island nation has been slammed by climate-fueled cyclones, including 2 Category 4 cyclones this month that left at least 10% of its population still in evacuation centers.
I celebrate today with the people of Vanuatu who are still reeling from the devastation from 2 back-to-back cyclones this month, caused by the fossil fuels and greenhouse emissions that they are not responsible for.
However, this could take the ICJ around 18 months to issue an advisory opinion, with countries submitting inputs sometime around next year. Now, for more on this, we're joined by Robbie Redder, who is the Director of South-South North and has been Ethiopia Country Head for Climate and Development Knowledge Network, joining us live from Ethiopia. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
My first question to you, the United Nations General Assembly, it voted to pass a resolution asking the world's top court to define the obligations of the states to combat climate change. How effective do you think this would prove to be?
In international diplomacy, I think, as mentioned, this is not legally binding on countries, but it gives a strong signal, a strong statement in sort of helping facilitate countries to increase their ambition. As you're well aware, as you know, for those that are not aware, the overall climate agreement comes from individual country commitments, and the summation of this, better known as nationally determined contributions, and the summation of this is what the global action on climate change looks like. And as it stands, these commitments are not strong enough, and moreover, they're not as binding. So such an external opinion will help facilitate countries to take more stringent action, to revise some of their actions, and also look at implementation.
All right. Well, that being said, what can you tell us about the international law on the same and the ability, in fact, of the international legal system to then deliver climate justice?
I mean, these negotiations, they take a long time. They're not where we want them to be, but there are a number of steps that are taken for bringing all actors together. One of the difficult areas of the negotiation is the climate negotiation is consensus-based. So all countries would have to agree to texts that come out of it or commitments that come out of it. So it can be a longer process to get there, but it's a good process to bring everybody on board as well. So while we're a bit farther from getting there, I think the processes in themselves are important. And at some point in time, binding requirements should also be there.
All right. Well, Mr. Redder, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights on this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.